Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh, and on the show we have for you today the latest on coronavirus news, and good news coming just as ferocious with the bad as it continues to be a battle of vaccines and variants. About 80% of K through 12 teachers and staff have gotten a vaccine dose at this point, and we'll take a look at California's plans to lift virus restrictions and the debate around vaccine passports. I do want to kind of ask our two guests about that, see what they think, and that is going to be an interesting debate kind of going on throughout the future. Meanwhile, in the Senate, a big ruling could help push the Biden agenda through Congress, possibly expanding the Democrats' ability to use the budget reconciliation tool, a big win for some of the more progressive planners in the Democratic camp. Meanwhile, Matt Gaetz is said to have sought a blanket pardon from Trump in the wake of his sex crimes allegations. And if we have time, we'll talk about the nuclear deal, if Iran will buy in to getting back on compliance with the United States. And really, I mean, does it make any sense for them to do at this point? I don't know. And finally, we'll have a little fun by processing the mess that is the new Greg Gutfeld show, and have a little kind of surprise twist for you at the end with that story to kind of top it all off. But very excited for that. Pleased to welcome also to the show today, Zach and Eli back with us, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yo. What's going on? Been a while.
Yes, it has. Have done a little bit of road tripping, and now we're all back under the same on the same Discord server. So we do have some good news coming with the coronavirus, as about right now 80% of K through 12 educators and staff have been given at least one vaccine dose. Nearly 80% of school staff and childcare workers in the United States have received at least one dose of the coronavirus vaccine. The announcement comes, of course, as the Biden administration has made the ambitious push to reopen schools and return to in-person instruction by the president's 100th day in office. So we are getting to that point more and more. The goal has been tempered by dangerous new virus variants, protests from teachers' unions, and fears and frustrations of students and parents. Again, I think there's no real, I don't think things, just as a student myself, I don't think things are going to be changed really by one extra month or two in school. So, yeah. I mean, depending on the situation, it's obviously it varies case by case. If everyone's vaccinated, I mean, why not? But I think there is a certain kind of like pointlessness to it, because so much this year is already gone. What do you guys think about this story here with the coronavirus, the education side of it, just in general?
Yeah. I mean, I think kids are basically I don't want to say immune, but if you're under 16 or whatever, the coronavirus is basically just like the flu, right?
Yeah, it's very asymptomatic.
Yeah, they don't need to get vaccinated, right? So I think if all the teachers are vaccinated, there's no reason why they can't go to school with masks.
Yeah, I really do think that should be fair. 80% of the members of the American Federation of Teachers released a survey that reported over 80% of association members have been vaccinated or have made a vaccination appointment. About 85% of members said their school is operating on at least a part-time basis, according to the survey. So that seems like what a lot of schools are going to be, at least going to very soon, if they have not already. And that kind of brings out, as we return to normal, this whole real debate about vaccine passports. And I've heard a lot of different things about this. I just want to go, do you guys have any, I can see how they make a lot of sense, because, at least for a certain time, for a limited time. But what is your guys' take on vaccine passports?
I think it's a pretty uncomfortable idea to think about. I'm not entirely comfortable with it. I mean, we do have vaccine requirements already. If you want to go to public school, you need certain vaccines. If you want to leave the country,
that's very different thing around.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, well,
yeah. So you're talking about for travel. For travel, there's going to be some.
Yeah, so we already do some mandatory vaccine stuff, but I think this is a bit over the line. I would really like to see it not implemented if possible.
Yeah, I mean, because they're
not even necessary.
Yeah, I mean, we're so close to the finish line. Like, I think there's no reason to think. Well, maybe there is a reason. I'm maybe not too educated on this, but I feel like this like one vaccine is not like so different from all the other ones that people are just going to be like, no, like at an exorbitantly higher rate than normal. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, at least here in this country, it seems to be that people are kind of taking the vaccine quickly. There hasn't been any of those kind of hiccups like what we saw with kind of in continental Europe, where
AstraZeneca.
Yeah, and now people are kind of I don't even know what the story with that is. Like, I feel like I hear a lot of stories about it that like kind of seem like, you know, the research team was maybe a little like sloppy or whatever, and the AstraZeneca people and the distribution of it, but like in terms of the efficacy, the only real knock against it, right, is that you have just a small percentage of people getting blood clots from it, like a very like incredibly rare. So I mean,
and what's going to come out is that most likely those people who got the blood clots knew they were probably going to get blood clots for taking the vaccine.
So it's just
like they had an existing condition.
Yeah, I think I did read that as well. Like there's some sort of like condition, like very rare genetic condition that's like if you take it, it'll get blood clot. If you'll get blood clots, and if they identify that, then you know if you don't want to get a blood clot, you have that condition, just don't take the vaccine. Like that makes it a lot easier. That is for sure. But yeah, I mean, I guess with vaccine passports, the only real reason you would, because you'd be worried about, you know, a mass number of people going to the store, and for example, or going to a public place or going to like a sporting event. And you're not able to get I just don't think I kind of agree with that. I don't think it would be necessary but maybe it will be at a certain point. I don't know. Yeah, so there has been a little bit of a worry. Just to take a look at the other side of this, we talk about variants. It appears we are following Michigan. This is what's going on in Minnesota right now. There's been a little bit of a problematic variant out there. This was the British variant going crazy in Minnesota and Michigan. The state reported an average of 1,776 new daily cases on April 3rd before the Easter holiday weekend delayed reporting, according to a New York Times database. It surpassed about 2,000 new cases on April 1st, a figure not seen since January. Hospitalizations have also climbed by about 37% from 2 weeks earlier. So this is kind of how this variant can really get under. It'd be definitely more infectious, and possibly more lethal. So that's the kind of thing that we don't quite know yet. And it looks like the same thing is going on in Missouri. This is the B117 variant, first found in Britain. So, yeah, that's the other side of it, and that's kind of makes the case. Well, it's going to be hard to really like snuff out this thing, and I really do feel like it's kind of a race, you know. So we will see how it all turns out. Definitely some good news for people who actually want to see, you know, a coherent Biden presidency, other than the first two bills being passed, or one maybe. Hours after a top Senate official informed Democrats they could potentially have more chances to use the complex budget maneuver called budget reconciliation to push through their agenda without any Republican votes, Senator Bernie Sanders, the Vermont independent, was on television outlining the breadth of his liberal ambitions. The New York Times make him sound so sinister there.
Yeah.
He's out there scheming with his liberal ambitions in his 3 houses. Like, oh my gosh.
One of which is like literally a shack.
Yeah.
And the other one is an apartment in a city he lives in half the time.
Yeah, just one of the
on a senator's salary. And he also wrote a best-selling book.
Yeah, he's a good author. He's got the best words, folks. Yeah, but this is definitely going to be a big. It's going to be definitely a big break. So, do you think they will use it?
I thought they have to wait a year.
No, I think this is like the new thing is. I think the new thing is they're going to have more chances to use a complex budget vote. So yeah, the parliamentarian's opinion, parliamentarian coming through for us. Let's go. Issued on Monday.
She's back, right?
Yeah,
she's back with the crew. Anyways,
she said she said that the budget resolution passed in February could be reopened to include one more round of reconciliation, which allows for measures governing taxes and spending to be protected
This is
from
for the
filibusters.
infrastructure bill?
Yeah, that could give Republicans more chances to steer around the Republican opposition and push through their budgetary legislation. The process is fraught with challenges, including strict rules on what limit can be included. They're literally not they're not strict at all. They could just completely overrule the parliamentarian, and they just don't want to.
Dude, the Republicans are so if you're the Republicans, I don't know why you don't just get on board with this fucking infrastructure bill and take credit for it. Because,
I know, that's
this bill is gonna be sick. I don't know how. They're gonna lose. They are gonna lose clout when this is successful. So I don't know why they don't just get on board.
Yeah, let's take a look at what's in this $2 trillion plan. So the president would began selling his proposal on Wednesday, saying it would fix 20,000 miles of roads and 10,000 miles of bridges, while also addressing climate change and racial inequities and raising corporate taxes here. So, of course, like most things Biden does, it is really small. For example, Joe Manchin asked for $4 trillion. This is again over 10 years. This is being spent, and we just spent $2 trillion in with the stimulus bill. But and he says it is not a plan that tinkers around the edges. This is a once in a generation investment in America. Not quite. This is the low end of the broad consensus of what. If you're talking about the once in a generation, considering the awful generations that we've had recently.
I guess. I mean, it's no interstate highway system or whatever, but it's still amazing.
But it is true. Yeah. So this is going to be some pretty it's good to see, but it's kind of something that anyone could have done. It's definitely it's clearly, if you look at the low end, it's on the low end of proposals.
Yeah, let's be real here. I mean, but this is not. I mean, infrastructure is a pretty universal policy. I feel even. I don't want to say this, but I feel probably a Republican president even would have had an infrastructure bill.
I mean, Trump wanted to have one, and I think Trump was going for more money than what Biden is proposing here.
I mean,
100%.
But
the problem is they're not spending it on infrastructure. Boom, boom, boom. They're spending it on high-speed rail, which is not infrastructure in the eyes of the Republicans.
Oh, you're making a joke? Yes.
Yeah. But
did you know apparently literally only roads and bridges are infrastructure? There's not a single of the
not airports, nothing like that.
Yeah. Literally, those two very specific concepts are the only thing that exists. Oh my.
Yeah. So the White House said the proposal's combination of spending and tax credits could translate to 20,000 miles of rebuilt roads, repairs to 10 of the most economically important bridges in the country, the elimination of lead pipes from the nation's water supplies, and a long list of other projects intended to create millions of jobs in the short run and strengthen American competitiveness in the long run. So yeah, this is just something that pretty much it's made sense to do probably since midway through the first Obama term, probably before that, but there just never has been the political stars that have aligned to get this done. And right now the stars are aligned. They're not aligned very well. It's not like a perfect situation, but they could really push it. And the question remains: will they? Though that is the real debate. Will they push this through? What do you think? I mean, you got to assume, if Biden's proposing it, but the real question is, how low is it going to go? How much of it will be taken off and negotiated down to, it's already pretty low, but how low is it going to get?
I don't know. I mean, obviously it's extremely dependent on what the parliamentarian says at this point, but I think it'll be a lot. I'm hoping.
You think they're going to be able to pass it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they did a decent-ish job with it's not the CARES Act. That was the first one. Oh my God.
American Rescue Plan.
American Rescue Plan.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, that was okay. I mean, maybe there was a little more feet to the fire there because, there
were some things that
coronavirus.
And it was a lot of the stuff was very temporary. You didn't have the $15 minimum wage.
This bill will pass 100%, no matter how far it gets pushed down, because infrastructure is just extremely popular. But I think that
not everything in the bill will pass as it is right now.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Okay, not everything. But I'm saying
you can have Joe Manchin, you can have the Republicans in there. Like,
if you're the Democrats,
but Joe Manchin doesn't want to raise the corporate tax to 20%.
Yeah, he was like, we have to raise it to 25 because 28 is just too high. Like,
of course, Amazon.
It's such a
Amazon
joke.
today came out supporting it because they don't pay any fucking tax, and they
yeah,
they would like the tax rate as high as possible as long as it keeps them profitable because they just want to eliminate all the other businesses.
Yeah, that was like they literally are now playing by the same rules, which is why it's so scary. Like they're pretty much an independent state at this point. It is, it's really, and they even have their own like Ministry of Propaganda as well, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
those Amazon
News and Twitter,
Amazon FC bots
that could be cheaper within the plan.
What do you say, Eli?
I've already found something that could be a lot cheaper in the infrastructure plan.
What? I don't know.
It says they're allocating $174 billion for EV charging stations.
Okay.
Tesla bolstered, and so $174 billion divided by 500,000 charging stations is $303,000 per charging station. Tesla builds their charging stations for $100,000 to $200,000. So I can already see how they can reduce costs at least somewhat, or they're overspending because of the government.
Your microphone.
Yeah, your microphone
really
is not
on my end.
Your microphone's not very good. Like maybe like unplug.
Are you like sitting somewhere weird?
No, I have AirPods in, but I think they might be broken.
Yeah, mine are like that too. Yeah.
Anyway, so what you think they should buy the chargers from Tesla?
The thing about the Tesla charging station is they're not the same plug. Like as we recently were able to get like an EV that was not a Tesla, and they have like completely different charging infrastructure. What I think would be more efficient is, I know Eli's going to say it should be like run by private companies, but I think like a universal, because like the infrastructure.
No, there should be a universal charger.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Or at least if there's not a universal charger, at least have two and give everybody like an adapter.
Yeah. That like I think there are adapters that cost like $200 now.
I think the private market has done a decent job at creating universal plugs for the most part. I mean, the only thing
it's basically just Tesla that has a different one.
Yeah. Tesla has about like many, and there's some like with the like the Chevy. I like one of the Chevy ones, and you have to go pretty far if you want to actually get your car charged, like supercharged, because there's some stations that you can have it like topped up full ready to go in like 30-40 minutes, and then there's some you have to wait like and then you have to wait like several hours for some of them. Like it's like you can, because it's like there's different level 1 or level 2 or level 3 chargers, so it's like there's definitely different levels of it, and it definitely needs to be, because like they're going to be a big part of our green future, so we're going to at least have some sort of...
I mean, the charging stations, they need to be built, but I'm just saying they can build them for much cheaper.
I guess.
I mean, maybe. It's certainly possible, but, who knows? We're not electric, we're not knowledgeable in that business, though.
So, I mean, if Tesla can build them for $100,000, why is the government spending $250,000?
That's a good
per
Why are we buying... Who are we buying?
Per charging station. A charging station has 8 to 20 different chargers.
They do. The ones I've been at, they have
what do you mean by
4
station. Is
they have
it
4?
I think I'm confused.
Like the Tesla chargers.
Have you seen a Tesla supercharging station? Like they have 12 parking spots or whatever.
Those are the big ones.
When you mean station, this is like a gas station? I thought you meant
or like a mall.
Because that's what this plan is.
Oh, I thought you meant okay, well, I should have fucking been clued in by the fact that it was $300,000. I kind of thought you meant the things that go in the ground and then you just plug your car in.
Oh, no.
Literally the stations itself. Tesla builds their supercharging stations for $100,000 to $200,000, and the government, at least according to the reading, is going to spend $350,000 per station. They can easily get that done, especially if they're building 500,000 of them. Why can't they get the cost to?
Yeah, and honestly, they're the government. They should be able to hey, we're the government. We get a better rate than Tesla.
They're just
not
bad
better,
business.
right?
At least that money.
What?
Well, if they're gonna buy like 1 trillion of them,
Yeah,
I don't know how.
exactly.
If it's anything like how we negotiate like for drugs in this company,
Yeah, exactly.
In this country,
Exactly.
I mean, then I'm assuming
It's probably like
whatever,
like we're buying more to like more expensive for like to do a favor for private industries, just like the.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
they're probably going to be paying like charge point or something. I don't know what they're going to be doing.
Anyways,
Yeah,
totally.
Point.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Bad.
I don't want the government to get screwed because it hurts us all.
We got to
I
increase.
mean, right now it looks like they're getting fucked in the ass. I'm not.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that your
I don't know
mic.
how we fixed that, but
It's good that your mic kind of like went out there because my mom doesn't like some bad language, but she doesn't even listen that much anyway, so it's fine. Anyway, yeah. So this spending in this plan would actually take place over 8 years, the president said, and the tax increases would more than offset spending in 15 years, leading to an eventual reduction in the budget deficit. What a good, smart, responsible guy. Unlike the economic stimulus passed in 2009 under President Barack Obama, officials will not in every case prioritize the so-called shovel-ready projects that could quickly bolster growth. But even spread over years, the scale of the proposal underscores how fully Biden has embraced the opportunity. I don't even want to read that. Don't really care. But anyway, more of the New York Times trying to turn Biden into FDR. Like, I don't know. That does not sit well with me.
I'm so excited for infrastructure spending. I love infrastructure.
Yeah, guys, it's infrastructure week now for real because Biden's president.
So happy. If you're not hype, I don't know who the fuck could not get hype over infrastructure spending.
I could get more hyped if Joe Biden came out to say, you know what, the corporate tax rate is going to be 38%, and then Joe Manchin would be like, can we raise it down to 35%? And then that would be where it was before the Trump tax cut.
We just have to start at 100%.
And Joe Manchin, like, honestly, Joe Biden should just start. Because literally the only point of Joe Manchin is just to say, go back to West Virginia and be like, hey, I got Joe Biden to take $3 billion or 3 percentage points.
Shit there.
Joe Manchin is?
Yeah, in West Virginia. They love him, I guess.
I think that's true. Yeah, because this is like he goes and gets things done and gets the president to listen to him. Like I think that's
he's the most powerful person in Congress
because he's in the news all the time and he's willing to use the power. And like his thing is just to say no to like reduce the plan by just a little bit, so like it's pretty much insignificant, but just for the purpose of reducing it. Like it's just to say that hey, I challenge Biden too, because I'm like a West Virginia. Gunslinger.
In this infrastructure plan, there's stuff for energy, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, they should be investing in nuclear. Like that's my recommendation.
Hell yeah.
Because nuclear is actually cleaner than solar. Because you don't have to dig shit out of the ground. All you need to find is some uranium or thorium and just put that shit in a reactor.
Well, you have to dig that out of the ground too.
Okay, you have to dig that. It's not as it doesn't harm the environment as much.
That's true.
And also, you can still have electricity if there's clouds, which is good.
That's true. Well, also,
of course, there's going to be batteries, but
there's wind too. But yeah, no.
I mean, nuclear is just more stable.
Nuclear is definitely the key.
And we are just on the brink of like really clean nuclear energy that can't be turned into bombs after.
Yeah. I mean,
isn't the problem with that like the spent rods thing? Like, where do you put the spent rods?
This technology doesn't use those rods.
Oh, okay.
That's not a problem either. The problem is the United States started a nuclear program, energy program, and they just never developed a system to throw them out. So they just like stayed because
they never put any effort into it.
They're aren't they chilling in some mountain in like Nevada or something?
No, like kind of. But a lot of them are also just like chilling in the
plants themselves.
Yeah. No, but the thing that's stupid about this is like a proven method. Like we already have countries that are almost not. I don't think it's carbon neutral. I don't know. Like almost 100% renewable energy. France is literally kicking our ass.
It's France.
Like
France. I mean, I hate French people, but
French people. Awesome. You can't talk because French people should be like they're more respectable than American people, I would say.
Nah, they're pretty racist and like anti-religion
in their own way, but they have more self-respect for that when their government tries to do like pull some bullshit on them, whether it's like civil liberties or like taking away their rights. Like they go, at least they still go in the street and like throw a brick through like the nice window, you know? Like at least
according to the Republicans, Antifa does that like every second. So
yeah, New York City
actually
is a
your window's
mess.
broken right now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is the propaganda. This is the propaganda. My uncle, he lives in New York City all his life, and he was gone over the summer, and he was like, "I'm scared to go back to New York City right now." I was like, "You're gonna go back to like Greenwich Village and you're gonna be fine." Like, are you really like?
No,
actually,
there was a lot more crime this summer.
What?
Yeah, no, crime rates have been going up.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like you're gonna like crime rates are going up and not just the protests but massive.
No,
like,
you're wrong about this.
What do you mean?
Like on the Upper West Side, there was like I heard people like I know how people have gotten robbed. Like not personally, but like I know people who know people. It's
yeah, but like the odds that like there's like that. Yeah,
I mean
I'm not saying that crime.
He's being a bit
dramatic.
Yeah, but still.
Like it's not like, to say that crime hasn't gotten up, not only because of the protests, because like we're in an incredibly.
I wasn't even talking about the protests. Just crime in general has been up.
Yeah. It's just the fact that we're economic hardships. Tons of people losing jobs because of the pandemic. Yeah, it's a very sad time. But yeah, we all know what, or at least we know what the root causes of crime are and all that stuff.
Race and ethnicity, totally.
The culture. The upbringing, the way they're raised.
Listen to Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, it's very great. Yeah, I hate to bring up British politics again, but they just released a the government there. They just released a like huge landmark report about like racism in British society, and guess what the conclusion was?
It exists.
They're not racist. Oh my gosh. Britain is a shining light. Like the British conservative government released a report that's like, Britain is the best place to be a minority. Like
that can't possibly be true.
That was kind of funny. They were like,
is that like
guys,
a joke?
We
is
rock.
That like the 1776 project?
No, it was kind of like that. It was like done by like blatantly conservative people, but
okay.
But it was like released as a full government report, and of course, because the media there is awful, like all the major papers like landmark report says Britain not racist, and it came from the government, so it had like that veneer of like respectability in a way that Trump doesn't, even though he is the president.
Britain had like what, like 100-year head start on like civil rights. What? How much sooner did they outlaw slavery than us?
I think not that incredibly. I mean, it was probably like 40, 50 years. But they gave women the right to vote, I think, later than us.
Yeah, that's 50.
Yeah, they gave women the right to vote after us, I think, in like 1928, and they gave men the like
1918. I don't know when it was here. I think it's a very similar time.
Yeah. It's very interesting, the British development.
I mean, it's been downhill from that point on. So who knows?
Yeah, ever since the NHS, it's been down.
No, I mean ever since women could vote.
Oh,
pranked, guys.
Guys, he's serious. He hates women.
No, I love women.
Anyway, speaking of someone who loves women, Representative Matt Gaetz, Republican of Florida, was
great segue.
Thank you. Was one of President Donald Trump's most vocal allies during his term. And according to a new report by Michael Schmidt, Maggie Haberman, and Nicholas Fandos of the New York Times, he even pledged public loyalty and signed a letter nominating the president to the Nobel Peace Prize. And this is actually the reported part. In the final weeks of Trump's term, Gaetz sought something in return. He privately asked the White House for a blanket preemptive pardon for himself and unidentified congressional allies for any crimes they may have committed, according to two people who told the discussions. I wonder what that conversation must have been like, To like be a fly on the wall is like, Mr. President, can you please pardon me? Like, what would he say? Like, what crimes have you committed? Like, Would that be the question? I don't know.
I read like he could go to jail for life for this because of like how serious the charge is.
Yeah, like bringing 17-year-olds.
Yeah. I mean, like,
not good.
I don't think I would. I think it would be a hard argument to say he morally deserves life in prison, but I think like
people like that, they're not good in society.
Yeah, but still, come on, life in prison, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I think he did like the best version of like the crime, like of a really bad crime. So like even though it doesn't seem that bad, he committed like such a bad crime that like it really messes because like sex trafficking.
What do
obviously.
You mean?
Like,
well, we don't know the full details of it. It could be pretty bad. Like he was out there saying like, oh, there's no like there's like no pictures of me with prostitutes, like, and that hadn't even been put out yet. So who knows what's coming down the line? Yeah, so Trump's...
But I think, well, this is my understanding was like he like drove a girl, like he drove like a young girl over state lines to have sex with, which is like pretty fucking like predatory and horrible, right? But it's not like selling somebody into slavery.
Yeah, well, yeah, but when you put it that way, yeah, it could have been worse.
Yeah. No, but I think he's being tried in like with a similar law, I think.
It's gonna be interesting to see how he is legally prosecuted, but it is unclear, though. That's the thing. It's unclear whether Gaetz or the White House knew at the time about this inquiry or who else he sought pardons for. That would be interesting to know because he had multiple congressional allies, so maybe that's representatives, or just aides or something. I don't know, but he did not tell the White House he was under investigation for potential sex trafficking violations when he made the request, but top White House lawyers and officials viewed the request as a preemptive pardon, the request for a preemptive pardon as a non-starter that would set a bad precedent, the people said. So apparently that was where they drew the line. Preemptively pardoning Matt Gaetz? No way. Not going to happen.
That's a good decision. Can you imagine a world where like all of the lawmakers in your party like just get a pardon from the president like right before he leaves?
That would be like, you know,
that'd be a bad world to live in.
What's the point of having a government at that point? Like, come on, you
gotta dissolve that shit. Get the Knesset in here.
It's very funny that like that's where Trump drew the line though on Matt Gaetz. He did ultimately pardon dozens of his allies and others in the final months of his presidency, highlighting his willingness to wield his criminal power to help his close supporters and lash out against the criminal justice system. Imagine lashing out against the criminal justice system. Couldn't be me. Like, it's such a weird way of putting it. Like, in recent days, some Trump associates have speculated that Gaetz's request for a group pardon was an attempt to camouflage his own potential criminal exposure. That's kind of funny. He was just like, "God, can you pardon me and also all my friends who are also totally with me?" But it's like, oh my goodness,
he's such a funny guy, man.
He is like the stuff he did. I don't even know if we play. I honestly forget if we played this on the show or not. I think we did. Yeah, I think I did with did it with James Stanley about the Tucker Carlson interview. That was really something else.
Oh, with Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we ever got your reaction to that.
Oh, because I was away, I think, when it happened. My reaction was, it was so funny how he kept trying to, like, implicate Tucker, and he was just like, no, fuck off.
Yeah, it really felt like it was, like, the kind of story that was kind of been absent for the last couple of months because we've been in the Biden era. Things have kind of calmed down a little bit. But like this had all the juices of like a Trump era crazy psychotic story.
Tucker is such a rat. Like he like pretend to be he has like no loyalty to anyone in that party. I mean, good, I guess, but
yeah, I mean he wants to be his own thinker because like he's been doing segments with Rachel Maddow. Like he started off his career that way. He was on CNN. Like he's definitely an establishment guy. No one should like get that straight. But he just plays a role, and a lot of people
like
get for it.
There's like definitely like 10 million Tucker Carlson viewers who would like hate the Republican Party. Like if tomorrow night he was like, Republicans are supposed to be our friends.
The Republican Party is letting us down. The Republican Party likes immigrants, and then just mass riots. But yeah, so this is actually something I did not know. In 2016, guess who Matt Gaetz originally supported to win the Republican nomination?
26.
Jeb
Bush, that's right.
Yeah,
let's go.
That doesn't surprise
I love
me.
Jeb.
Fellow Floridian.
I like Jeb too. I mean, I hate.
We deserve Jeb,
but he's like a nice guy.
He's a good meme.
I guess. I don't know.
He's probably the least.
He's such a sweetie.
He's probably like the least sinister. He was so funny though. When
I feel like he would commit less war crimes than his brother.
It's hard to. Yeah. It's hard to like.
And if he did a war crime, he would say, "Please clap."
Yeah, and also
I just thrown children in Yemen. Please clap.
Please
clap.
My
God,
Hillary Clinton's.
Your impressions are so good, man.
Yeah,
I'm actually jealous.
I think
that was a pretty good Jeb. I'm not gonna lie. Can you say in the Jeb voice? I oppose Medicare for all I oppose the Medicare thing in my state. You know what I'm talking about? He's like,
I think I just lost it. I think I just lost it. Damn it.
Wait, let me try.
Please clap.
I can't do it.
There, I got it. I had it there. Please clap.
I oppose No, I can't do it. I don't know what it is.
I oppose.
You just can't bring yourself to say you oppose Medicare.
I oppose the Medicare expansion plan in Florida. It's not right. He helped his brother steal the election. Though that's the thing, Jeb Bush, because he was a governor and he helps.
That's true.
Win Florida.
Wait, he was governor at the time.
Yeah, him and the Supreme Court, John Roberts, baby.
He must have just
MVP.
Been elected, right?
Probably
because he was not 1999 2007. Yeah, so he was like just elected.
Yeah, already very busy, but yeah, Jeb Bush. He is like, it was insane to watch him get destroyed in 2016.
Because he had all the money, man.
It was so funny. Oh my goodness! But I would say that there would be no substantive policy difference between Hillary and Jeb Bush on foreign policy, anyway.
Probably
between who?
Jeb Bush and Hillary, if they had been the nominees.
Probably pretty similar.
Yeah.
And probably just in policy in general, to be honest.
I mean, they both knew what Aleppo was, I think. So, that puts them ahead of the Libertarian Party.
What's Aleppo?
Aleppo. What is Aleppo?
Aleppo? What's Aleppo?
Dude, it's some dinky city. Nobody cares what Aleppo is.
I mean, at least he doesn't know where it is, so he won't bomb it.
Honestly, it's a good thing that he didn't know what Aleppo was. Yeah. That proves that he doesn't care about foreign.
If he doesn't know where he is, he can't drone
Johnson
it.
Would bomb Aleppo?
He doesn't even know what it is. How could he bomb
it? Gary Johnson is not bombing anything. He said like 100 times he would like take out all military presidents.
Yeah. Respect.
I think he was the governor of Massachusetts.
He was kind of
New Mexico.
How could you?
He was a governor somewhere.
Say Massachusetts. That is your state.
That's the last state. That is like the last state Gary Johnson would get elected in. It's like rich Democrat.
No, we got Mitt Romney in our state.
Mitt Romney and Mitt Romney is nowhere close to a libertarian.
Also, Gary Johnson he's kind of an idiot. I mean, like, remember you see the interview where they were like, "Okay, you're president. What government agencies would you eliminate?" And he just threw out, like, he thought for a few seconds and he was like all of them, and they were like, no, like, really pick some. And then he just like picked some, and then he got like the slightest amount of pressure on some questions, and he was like, "Oh, I guess we need that one or whatever." Like, just said that.
He's like you feel bad for him though. Like, you don't think, "Oh, he's so stupid," but you feel bad for him. For those of you who don't know though,
he's not like a real libertarian though.
You may not know anything that we're talking about here. Gary Johnson was a libertarian candidate in 2016, and he was in an interview with Morning Joe, and he
would have known what to say. I feel like.
All right, we got to play this.
Or he would have at least been able to back up saying delete the government.
Yeah.
All right, this is him on MSNBC.
Wait, let me.
This is the famous moment. I could play. It's real quick.
Oh, this is for Gary Johnson.
What would you do if you were elected about Aleppo? about
I feel like
Aleppo.
this year's candidate
And what is Aleppo?
actually explained her view, even if they were very controversial.
No,
which she
Eli,
probably shouldn't have said some of the things.
Let me just finish playing this clip because it is pretty funny. All right, let's rewind here. So this is him on Morning Joe.
What would you do if you were elected about Aleppo?
About
Aleppo.
And what is Aleppo?
You're kidding.
No.
Aleppo is in Syria. It's the epicenter of the refugee crisis.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Well, with regard to Syria, I do think that it's a mess.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's like, what is Aleppo? And then the guy just goes, "You're kidding." I'm just like, oh, those, like Morning Joe and Mika are like sitting there with their arms crossed, like staring at him, being like, "What is this idiot doing?" Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, so there's some more good clips here in this report here from the New York Times. In recent days, again, some Trump associates have speculated that Gaetz' request for a group pardon was an attempt to camouflage his own potential criminal exposure. Either way, Gaetz' appeal to the Trump White House shows how the third-term congressman sought to leverage an unlike a presidential relationship he'd spent years cultivating. Few Republicans in Congress have become more closely associated with the Trump presidency than Gaetz. He pretty much latched his political fortunes to Trump after his little dalliance with Jeb and found stardom in the Republican Party, becoming one of Trump's greatest defenders. So Gaetz, he said he denied having sex with the 17-year-old or paying for sex. His spokesperson denied that he previously requested a pardon in connection with the continuing of the Justice Department inquiry. Entry-level political operatives have conflated a pardon call from Representative Gaetz, where he called for President Trump to pardon everyone from himself to his administration to Joe Exotic, with these false and increasingly bizarre partisan allegations against him, the spokesman said in the statement. So apparently, he was out there, pardon me, pardon everyone, pardon my two friends who I don't have, and Joe Exotic. That's
pardon me.
Pardon me. Though Mr. Gaetz had little former power in the House, where he remains a backbencher, he offered Trump what he craved and what Republican congressional leaders would always offer: fierce loyalty and a taste for bare-knuckle political combat. He said, "I need more warriors." You know what I mean? This is what the president said about Gaetz, and he did know. Though he came from the more conservative Florida Panhandle, the young congressman shared Trump's taste for boats, particularly about sexual exploits, and a knack for self-promotion. Both men didn't really like Washington, and both were the sons of powerful men. And Mr. Gaetz' father, Don Gaetz, FBI informant, wire-wearing Don Gaetz, was the president of the Florida Senate and a wealthy businessman. And Trump's father, obviously, you know who that he was. After Democrats took back the House in 2018 and began cranking up pressure on the Trump administration, Gaetz emerged as the standout in what he called the warrior class of lawmakers who made it their mission to protect the president. The president called me when I was alone, asleep in the middle of the night in my Longworth office cot, on the throne, on the airplanes, in nightclubs, and even in the throes of passion. Yes, I answered. And put that in parentheses. So, wait, is this what he would? The president called me when I was in my car, asleep in the middle of the night on my Longworth office cot, on the throne, so shitting, on airplanes, in nightclubs. The president's out clubbing, and he's like, "Matt, I need to get your opinion." Oh no, when he was in nightclubs. Oh, okay, I read that wrong. So he's saying he is in the throes of passion, so he's having sex with a 17-year-old girl, and then the president calls, and he answers. That's what he's telling everybody. Oh my goodness, that is really something else.
When duty calls.
Yeah, the 17-year-old girl's like, "Can I talk to the president? Like, is that really him?" Oh my goodness, that's like, yeah. But if one person who would appreciate that kind of thing would be Trump. When Democrats called Michael Cohen, the president's former fixer, to testify against him in early 2019, Gaetz threatened to reveal what he said were extramarital affairs by Cohen. Democrats accused him of witness intimidation, and the Florida bar, which Gaetz is a member of, somehow investigated. Gaetz brought the first impeachment investigation into Trump later that year to a halt, albeit briefly, when he led dozens of Republican lawmakers into the investigative hearing room and they refused to leave. I remember that. That was a while ago.
So brave.
Yeah, he just stormed in. So this, just to give you a broader idea about this investigation. So this investigation includes an examination of payments to women. Investigators believe they paid for sex with a number of women he met through Joel Greenberg, a former Florida tax collector who was indicted last year on federal sex trafficking charges, among other offenses. Gaetz had repeatedly dismissed the investigation as politically motivated, defending his past relationships with women, saying, quote, "I'm not a monk." So, that's a sign of a man with nothing to hide there. He has not been charged, and the extent of his criminal exposure remains unclear. The investigation is continuing. The representative has claimed that his family is being targeted by two men trying to extort $25 million in exchange for making potentially legal problems go away. The men have denied that they were trying to extort the Gaetzes, and Gaetz told the Times he has no plans to resign from Congress, but he could face pressure to step down or temporarily relinquish his spot on the House committee that oversees the Justice Department. All right, we're going to go to our last story right now. And, Zach, you may have to share the screen for this one. We're going to watch a little bit of Greg Gutfeld. Folks, the morning after Fox News premiered its deeply unfunny foray into late-night comedy space, people had a little bit of fun. Greg Gutfeld, the only, quote-unquote funny guy in Fox News, someone in this article called him...
funny guy?
Someone in this article called him, a divorced dad trying to be Bill Maher, which I think is probably actually a pretty good point. This is a clip from his segment.
As much vitamin C as an orange? What does it even... What?
I don't even know. So apparently this logo he has is modeled after Jeb's campaign because it has an exclamation mark.
I'm as giddy as Kamala Harris explaining kids in cages. Or Woody Allen hearing about kids in cages. If you've been watching the GG show on Saturdays,
the laughter just dies
If
down.
you love the Five and felt the need for more
and they've
GG,
had to move his
that's
show,
awesome.
his
if you
late
ended
night
up
show,
here because you thought your
from
TV was
11
the microwave
to
oven,
2 to 1.
It's good to see you, Mr. President.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a
Your
good one.
pizza will be warm in 2 minutes. And Hunter, he brought the extra cheese.
Oh, that's
you all made a great
really
choice.
sad.
That's a good one.
For proof,
That's a
over
good
at
one.
MSNBC, let's see what Brian Williams is up to right now.
Good evening, I'm Brian Williams, and I am on Mars. Yes, I jumped on a chopper, and
That's a
now
good
I'm
one.
on Mars.
That's actually
I've been
funny.
here for a year now.
I don't think this
I
is
built
funny.
a castle here made of
This
mastodon
is so
carcasses
old.
and marshmallows.
I don't even remember
This is
that.
where I
guess
invented
you're right.
all the
It's a pretty
COVID
old
vaccines.
He exaggerated about the
as well as
Iraq War,
penicillin,
that was
the
pre-Trump.
smartphone, and
That was when I was in middle
Why?
school.
Helicopter.
Some things never change.
All right,
Okay,
that was all.
weird.
That's all it was. But
Wait, that was underwhelming.
one
That
for
was gonna
two.
be-
I thought there was going to be more of that.
Greg Gutfeld cleaning his writer's room after that abomination of an opener.
He's just slapping everyone in the face.
Why would you take that? I still don't understand. As much vitamin C as an orange, Gutfeld. What does that
I'm
mean?
confused. I'm actually confused, actually. I said actually twice.
What does this mean? Yeah. Vitamin comedy?
I don't know. Apparently,
Like,
so
what?
it's modeled off of the Garfield comics, and it's also the exclamation point. It's called Gutfeld,
This guy.
and that's based off of the Jeb Bush campaign. Believe it or not.
This guy went to Berkeley? My God.
Yeah, he I can see him as a liberal. Like he has the kind of smugness to be a
Yeah.
liberal, you know. But because that kind of makes him
Actual-
out of place as a conservative a little bit. But the funny thing
Wonderful.
was, in the end, maybe it was because of all the media reporters who were watching it to make fun of it, but it still ended up crushing MSNBC and CNN, which is kind of funny just to remind yourself how pathetic those guys are at the end of the day. All right. That's all we have for you today. We will see you on Thursday.